Hello, welcome car fans, or should I more accurately say, welcome TVR fans. This is my TVR Chimaera 4 litre HC 1995. I've owned this car for over 10 years now, and I've spent much more time fiddling with it than actually driving it. Stick some lights on it and see what's going on. Done quite a lot of work to it actually. I just love to fiddle with it and re-engineer all the stuff that TVR got wrong. Some people would say I ruined it, but that's certainly a valid opinion. But I think I've made some reasonably good changes, which I'm happy with anyway. So what have I done? Well, let's start with a steering rack. So we've got a Subaru steering rack there off an Impreza. It had a manual rack when I got it, which I just couldn't get on with. I mean, basically parking and was ridiculously heavy and just too heavy for my puny little arms. So I needed power assistance as a matter of urgency. So that was one of the early jobs that got done. And that conversion was quite well documented on the piston heads and the like, so not too bad to do at all actually. Involved some sort of fabrication of plates and various other things. It's got a Astra steering pump there that does the sort of hydraulic part of it, so it's sort of an electric hydraulic hybrid, if you like. So it drives the rack rather than other types of electric power steering that work on the column itself. Absolutely brilliant. Works perfectly. I'm really pleased with how that all turned out, and has been working faultlessly for the last 9 years or 8 years or so. Other stuff I've done, the keen-eyed amongst you will have noticed I've got coil packs on there. Those are VW coil packs, and a lack of distributor, which can only mean that it's got aftermarket ECU. And I sort of got into Speeduino, which I've been playing with now for the last sort of probably 5 years, which I absolutely love, mainly because of the sort of DIY homebrew and the sort of whole fact of building it up from scratch. Did all the electronics and everything, and rewired the entire engine bay. It's got new injectors, new larger injectors, various other things which we'll get onto. But that works brilliantly. I managed to get it running really well. Just did all the mapping on the road, and then I decided I needed more power. And that's where this comes in. So again, you'll probably notice, what the hell is that stuck on the front of the engine? Well, that's a turbo. This has been done many times now by various owners, turbocharging their Chimaera, and it works really well. And it's just a great way to get cheap extra power out without going through the expense of other routes like supercharging, which is much more expensive. But this is a basically a cheap Chinese turbocharger from eBay, and it is brilliant. I've done builds before with proper Garrett stuff on things like Fiat Coupes, and the quality of it is just unbelievable for the price. No issues at all. And it's only running in this application something like 3 or 4 psi, which works really well. And I've got an external wastegate, another cheap eBay item, and that does a great job of controlling boost and pegs it very nicely at 3 or 4 psi. I had no problems at all with boost creep or anything like that. But unfortunately, the problem I now have is that my weakness with the whole thing, the whole build that I originally did with this, was that unfortunately my arrogance that thought I was going to weld the whole thing myself. I did it in mild steel and basically fabricated this this manifold, but it's now blowing in various places because my welds were absolutely shockingly bad and pinholed, and basically I've now got exhaust gas leaking from all sorts of places, and it's got to be sorted properly. So I'm going to replace this and fabricate a brand new stainless steel manifold, which will be tigged and hopefully back purged properly, which is my next job. So hence why I'm going to hopefully film the progress and sort of let you know where I'm going. So basically these are standard TVR headers, and we've got the same sort of V-band idea, but it's going from a 4-inch to a 3-inch manifold, and then you've got the T3 connection on the bottom. So I'm going to basically be remaking this part of it in stainless, basically putting the turbo exactly where it is, but at the moment no changes there. I've nicely notched out the some room in the crossbar there to accommodate it, and it all fits beautifully. There's also a cat already in here. A lot of people that do turbo builds struggle with getting the legal side of it with MOTs in the UK. But I managed to fit a 200 cell catalytic converter in there, and that's managed to get through 2 MOTs with no issue at all. So I want to keep that, and I just want to route it in exactly the same place. So I've got a 5-bolt GT35 style outlet, which just basically 90 degrees into the catalytic converter and then off down the 3-inch system. So I want to just basically replicate that in stainless steel for longevity, basically. So no change there really at all. So there you go. Step 1 complete. So I've undone the V-band clamps, undone the wastegate clamp there to the wastegate. I've left the bottom one connected to the outlet pipe, and then we can sort of see how that's all connected now. And you can see I've had some problems with sealing right from the go on this install. One thing I really struggled with when I built this original manifold was how the metal, I had no idea quite how steel shrinks basically when you apply lots of heat and try and weld stuff up, and my perfectly fitting tacked up manifold suddenly didn't fit anymore when it was welded, and I had a lot of trouble getting these to seal either end. So you can sort of see the gap I was dealing with. That's sort of fitted that end, and it was out of alignment this end. So there was a lot of dragging of these 2 headers together with tie ropes, the sort of strap down ties that you get on trailers and things, trying to pull those headers together to get it all to fit, and it was an absolute nightmare. So I'm hoping this time round with the stainless steel manifold that I can get it a little bit more fabricated a bit better, but more accurately. So that should just pull straight away. There we go. I've done everything correctly. So this is the offending part that I want to replace, or certainly the first part of it. The second stage will be the outlet going into the exhaust. I'm going to leave that there for now because I want to really get the accurate position of the turbo to work from. I've made a little mark there on the turbo so I know that that's exactly where it sits, and I can build from the 2 headers, hopefully basically to where that T3 flange basically sits, and that should give me a really good starting point for where it all works. But before I can do any of that, I need to establish that the welds that I originally did on my headers, V-band to the headers, are sound enough for me to use. We might need to do a little bit of welding on those to get those properly sealed. I don't know whether we've got pinholes there. I can maybe clean all that up first and get that tested with a bit of light through there and see whether I can see any spots. But I don't want to start building from here if these welds aren't as good as they can be. So I've got to get that absolutely right first. So we'll take it from there. Hello, so progress. Good news and bad news. I've taken off the old manifold, basically cleaned up the V-bands and just had a check for straightness and that sort of thing. So this is my new V-band, and you can see they fit pretty well. So my idea was to continue moving on from here and start to build in steel, but the problem is these welds that I've got of the old V-band onto the cast iron, well not cast iron, they're basically mild steel headers on the TVR, weren't the best weld in the world, and I can see now where it was blowing in quite several places. If you can sort of look carefully through there, right on that edge there, there's a few air gaps there. So no wonder it was chuffing a little bit and making strange noises and not giving me any decent readings on my wideband either, which wouldn't help. So there's various sort of options at this stage. Now, these are an absolute bastard to remove, these headers, and you can see the bolts there. It's like a tiny fraction of a turn at a time, just no access. Those are the two easy ones, but once you get over to the back, they are really hard work, and you've got to get at them from underneath and take the starter motor out and all sorts of gubbins to get them out. And I really don't want to have to take those off again, because I've done it. I faced we've dressed all the faces, new gaskets, and they all seal lovely. So I'm really reluctant to take those off. So my next plan is to try and salvage what I can from the connection with the V-band to the manifold. And what I'm trying to do is basically making TIG basically the best I can inside, which will give a nice gas tight seal. Don't particularly care what it looks like outside, that's fine, as long as it's gas tight from the inside. Obviously I'm really not hoping not to warp these V-bands. Of course I could put the other side of it on and clamp it up, but that's going to severely restrict my access to the weld. So I'm just going a little bit at a time, and touch wood, at the moment I'm not seeing any warpage, so I think because it's welded on anyway, we're okay. I'm using 309 to join basically these dissimilar metals. So I've got stainless steel V-band with a mild steel manifold. 309 seems to be joining it quite nicely, although the welds look absolutely horrible, but you're not going to see them, and I don't care as long as they're strong. I think what's happening is it's dragging impurities in from the other side of the V-band, so I'm trying to keep the heat down a little bit. If you look closely, you can see the welds are looking really horribly grey. I'm not sure why that is. I guess it's the impurity problem. I think I've got the heat right now, so I'm just going to steadily continue around from the inside, do the same on that side, and see where we get to, and hopefully that will fix the problem. We shall see. Quick few words on the setup I'm running at the moment. So I'm not a very experienced welder at all. I'm learning this as I go, really. So this is my TIG setup. It's a raw WSME 200. Been getting on really well with this machine. It's really good, and basically got a 20-litre argon bottle that's on a sort of deposit. And basically there's my new dual output regulator. So I used to have a single output, which was fine for doing this sort of thing, but now I'm going to be working on stainless steel. I need a dual output because I'm going to be doing back purging, so hence the extra one. So this is actually working really well, and I managed to get that for a bargain on AliExpress for 31 quid, which for a dual output is something of an absolute bargain. So that's working really well for me at the moment. So we'll continue on. I'm just going to do little bits around, just keep tigging around. It's going to get tricky as I get around. I'm going to have to try and weld it upside down, which is going to be a bit difficult. Using a 1.6 tungsten at the moment with a 7 cup. I did have a 5 cup on it, but that seems to be working better. That's 7 cups, so I'm going to stick with that. Also been having problems with the tungstens balling up at the end with the heat, which I noticed when I was doing this last time. Don't know if it's going to focus on that, but you'll see. Yeah, there you see. They just that was previously sharp, and it's just going really out of shape very, very quickly. This one is doing better. I've turned the amps down. Anybody got any tips on that, then let me know in the comments. But I've also got these. I've just bought static arc are great for this stuff. It's so cheap. And I've got a set of 2.4s now as well. Those are the red ones. I'm not sure, I can't remember what those are now. Something thoriated, 2% thoriated red ones. I've got that option as well if I find that I need to move on to those for some reason, but we'll carry on. We'll carry on with the 1.6s and see how we go. More later. Hello. So progress has been made. Just to recap, I decided in the end to keep the V-bands I'd got and basically do the best to seal those and get those attached to the manifolds much better using TIG, using 309 to join those up. The welds look absolutely horrible, but I don't care. They're strong now and it looks like it's all good and sealed, so I'm not too worried about that. It's the best I can do really with the sort of inclusions and things that were in there to start with. So that looks okay, and reasonably okay with the warping side of things as well. It's not too bad. It's maintained itself to be relatively straight on the shape of it. So I've cracked on with the TIG welding. So here's my new pieces, and that's the first step. So I've got a brand new V-band, and I've welded on my 4-inch down to 3-inch cone, and that's gone pretty well. Tried back purging. The welds still aren't great, I have to say, but pretty solid looking, but very grey. And there's a little bit of sugaring on the inside of that, just on that one part in the edge there, but I think that'll be okay because it's quite a lot of overlap. There was quite a big gap between the V-band rim and the cone, which I was struggling to fill with the rod, using 308 for this. So this is Welding 308 filler wire. I think this is 304. It wasn't actually sort of stated anywhere. Stainless, and getting quite a sort of greyish. I've polished that one a little bit. It's come back a little bit. So my TIG welding is awful, but you get the idea. But that's good and strong, and there's no holes in it. So I think the heat penetration looks good. It's not expanded too far into the piece there, so I think that's okay. And how I did it, just I think I've managed to put those away, but I screwed up the V-band in the clamp while I welded it, and then had it on this big plate to give it some element of heat sink. I've got haven't got a chill block or anything, but it's completely flat, that side. There is some warping on here because I was putting so much heat into this piece, but I think I'm going to get away with it. It's not too bad at all. I think with a bit of copper Permatex, I think that's going to seal pretty well. One for that side, and then we're away. So then we just sort of start building into the turbo. So I'll keep you posted on the next stage. Thanks for watching.